All right, we are live again. Happy Friday, everyone.
Yeah, happy Friday.
It's 5:11 p.m. on the 7th of April. And we will be talking more. We'll be exploring more on these fraudsters and all the fraud that we've been tricked into. And we are enslaving. We are leaving the Babylon. And it's not for everyone, okay? This is totally not for everyone. It's only for those who are, that's for those who are just fed
It's
up.
only for those people
who are just fed up living in lies.
No, it's for the people that realize that something's wrong and are tired of it and want to do something about it.
That's right.
And have the balls, women included,
we
have the balls to stand up and to deal with what's coming, because you're going to have to fight for your freedom. Nothing's free.
Freedom is not for free, guys. And when we say fight, all right, we were actually just talking about it. It's the power of the pen, okay? This is why we have the First Amendment. We actually have the right to petition our governments for redress of grievances. And it's so powerful. It's so powerful when you realize that you have the tools and that you have rights.
Yeah,
right?
It's having the ability to stand up for yourself and be able to enforce your rights, because your rights are law. And there's certain things that these people have to deal with, because when they don't, when that First Amendment runs out, the Second Amendment comes out the pocket and you deal with it that way. That's why they put them 1 and 2.
Yeah, this is why it's the Second Amendment, and this is why we are exercising the First Amendment. And when you learn really how to utilize it, first of all, we need to know what our rights are, right? And then we need to know how to stand up to it. So we hear it very often, well, you need to stand up, and that's exactly what this means. It means to recognize what has been done to you, recognize that you've been you've been literally enslaved. You are a tax slave, and they are squeezing you more and more. And this is why this is not feeling right. This is why we feel like, gosh, something is wrong, right? With all these taxations and these codes and these ordinances, and you just feel like you cannot breathe, and it's getting like tighter and tighter, and they want you to work harder and faster and be more productive. I remember when I was in corporate world, it was unreal, the results we had to produce. It was unreal, how hard we had to work, and all the hours. I literally I started to feel like I was slave, and what they were doing, they were just throwing more of this funny money at us, right? And it just felt like so weird, literally like being a slave.
Like being on a hamster wheel. You can't quit running, because your world will fall apart if you do.
And what happens is, right, and they keep putting these carrots in front of you. Oh, look, now you can go and buy this bigger home. Look, now you can go to buy this bigger house. You can buy this bigger car, right? You can buy this boat. You can buy all these things. And then you get trapped into it, and you don't even realize that you actually didn't buy it. Okay? And so this is why today we are continuing on exposing one of the biggest frauds. One of the important things that we need to really learn about is about the money system. That we don't have money. We don't have money, and it's a very hard concept for most people to really comprehend and wrap the mind around it. Like I had very hard time. How about you, Doug? Like when I realized that actually, guys, we don't have money, that our ability to pay for anything was taken away from us when they took the gold and silver from the people, which is the lawful money. And everything got inverted. So we live in bankrupt society. Debt is basically, how would we say it? Debt is the new instrument.
Well, debt is the nature of what you're trading your sweat equity for, because debt is what they're using. Everything's borrowed into existence. So debt is what the more debt that you get, right? You think, okay, like dollar bills. The higher the stack of dollar bills you get, the richer you think you are, right? the more you get, the more debt you're in, because those are debt instruments. Those are not cash instruments. Okay? What they are is they represent a commercial lien on the Federal Reserve Bank. All right? They're not, they're a promise to pay later sometime down the road.
Sometimes down the road, yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
So everything that you do is dealing with negotiable instruments. Okay? When you fill something out that says that you promise to pay somebody back, like say an application for a loan, that right there turns into a promissory note, a negotiable instrument that has cash value that is deposited, and that's where the other note comes from. Okay? Everything is a psyop, and it's inverted. It's actually the opposite of what it should be. It's upside down from what it should be. When they took all of our money, they revenued us, they revenued us and re-alleged us back into a territorial jurisdiction. Okay, it's basically a overlay over our actual land. Okay, where they're making a claim to everything above 6 inches above the ground. Okay, and instead of the land, they're dealing with real estate. Okay, instead of real property, because estates can be taxed. So everything down to the words that they're using has placed you into a box that you don't know how to get out of, because you were never taught how you got into it. Okay,
you were made believe. They showed you this house, they showed you the property, the land, all the features, right? And they sat you down at a table and they said, don't worry, we will loan you. You can, let's see if we can qualify you for this loan, right? So guys, if you haven't watched, we have, this is part 4. So it's actually you can scroll these videos down on Facebook. You can also watch them on YouTube. So we continue in this series so you can get the education, and then you can start, deciding for yourself if you want to continue in this world of constructive fraud, or if you want to stand up and start asking these questions. So in today's video, what we are going to be covering is, in our last video, in part 3, we were showing you the draft, the application, the promissory note, and we were showing you the memorandum of law. Actually, how all of this came into existence, how money is made. So make sure that you watch it before you jump into this one. Because in this one, now basically we are following up. So now we realized, okay, I found out that I might be made part of this constructive fraud, or I might be a victim, right? So now what do we do about it? How do we now stand up for our rights and start asking these questions? So one of the ways we do it is we actually put it into writ in the nature of discovery and disclosure. So I'm going to be going over some of the important questions we are now asking the so-called lender, the mortgage company, the bank that supposedly made this loan to us, right? So very important questions. So we are asking them, dear mortgage company, and your agents, employees, and assigns, that you are requested to produce the original promissory note as lawful proof and evidence, exposing the front and the back, and mark with the account number, and here you put your loan number, your account number, with clear signatures and evidence associated with the original loan, indicating the exchange of substance or specie alleged to have been issued from you, the mortgage company, or persons, and given to the borrower, meaning you. All right? Then we are requesting them to produce any allonge and bill of exchange and any other promissory note exposing, once again, the front and the back, complete with any affixations or allocations attached to the original borrower's promissory note and used for endorsements. Okay.
That's why you want the original with the front and the back, because it exposes the actual endorsements and the stamps that say where it was deposited.
Yeah, we are basically looking for that account where it was deposited. Now, Doug, you also, let's mention very important part, because sometimes the objection will be, well, according to Article 9, we can just use a copy of the promissory note.
Well, see, what they've done is they've securitized the loan, all right? And by securitizing the loan, they actually split the promissory note from the mortgage, okay? And when they do that, they end up tearing up the original or burning the original. They have to, okay? And so they try to say that under Article 9, the securities, right, that they can produce a copy, all right, because Article 9 allows them to produce a copy of the security, right? But what it is it's actually the application that is the instrument that's deposited, because it turns into a promissory note when you fill it out and then place your autograph.
You autograph it. That's how you create the money.
The minute that you autograph it, you've created the cash value of that instrument where they deposit it, and then that's what funds your loan, and that's what funds the seller getting a check from the so-called lender, okay? But that check comes from your credit, the credit that you created through the deposit of the instrument. The deposit of the instrument, if you're filling out an application, say the house is 1.5 million is what they want, right? Mm-hmm. So you fill out the application for 1.5 plus all the other expenses with it that go, because you got the closing costs, you got everything's in that thing, right? So basically what that is that's a draft under Article 3, and they have to produce the original draft under Article 3. So when you keep it as a draft under Article 3 and tell them, no, that's not the security under Article 9, because the security is when they securitize it. In other words, when they come in with the trust and the REIT and REFRA and all that stuff, right? They're securitizing the loan, okay? But there was no loan. They're securitizing the instrument and splitting it from the mortgage.
Yeah.
Okay? And they've already sold that instrument. They've already deposited it and then sold it at 90%. So they've been paid twice, and then they get paid like 3 more times when you pay off the mortgage with the debt notes. Okay? But they don't really get paid at all. They just get the mortgage discharged. But you still haven't bought the house because you never gave anything of substance for it.
Okay, so we continue. So now we are also requesting to produce all bookkeeping journal entries associated with the loan bearing the account number, your account number, and given to the borrower, meaning you.
Well, no, wait. See, this, and I don't mean to, but look, let's do this right, okay? You're actually the lender.
Well, I know. So, but now we are pretending that because...
But you said the borrower. I want to straighten that out.
The alleged borrower.
Because as long as you see yourself as the borrower, all right, then you've gotten something of substance from them, and you never did.
Well, this then becomes because they won't be able to produce this, right? So now we are proving them that we were actually not the borrower, we were the lender, they were the borrower. So right now, this is kind of how we are structured. So we can say alleged borrower.
Yeah,
alleged borrower.
Yeah, and look, what happens is the way that they have this set up, right? You come in, you fill out a application. Okay? This application is the instrument, okay? They take that instrument and they go and deposit it, all right? It's put into what's called a transactional account, because this is just a transaction. It's not a loan, okay? So it's in a transactional account in your name. They take that, and out of that account, they pull the check and give it to who's called the seller, okay? The person that's selling the house, all right? Now, what happened is when you filled out that thing and put your autograph on it, you are the creditor. Okay, you are the only one that has the sweat equity and has the creative ability, right? That everything else runs off of, because all these other people are parasites. Okay, they feed off of you. Everything that you make and you create, they take for their own, and they charge you and tax you for it. Okay? So when you create this promissory note, you are a private banker. You are the creditor. You are the one that has the value, not them. Okay?
Right, right.
And you're giving your value to them and putting your autograph on it, which automatically has cash value because it's backed by your full faith and credit and your future labor. Okay? So they know this, right? You don't. So they go and deposit that instrument, make a check and give it to them, and then tell you, hey, I loaned you something, so you owe me, and so you end up paying
interest.
Yeah, add interest. And then but wait, people. Where the thing that gets really sick is they give you all this stuff for this loan and stuff, right? But it's for an APN number, which is a fraudulent thing that exists in their drawer. So you're not buying anything.
Well, let's first stick to this with all the things that we are asking the mortgage company, and then we can continue on that, because guys.
Well, I just want to stick that in there to plant the
Right.
seed, because as you go down here and listen to this, you need to listen to the things that we're asking them to produce. Because according to the UCC, they're claiming that they have a contract with you, okay, that you're into a contractual agreement with you, and you have a right to see everything that deals with that contract under Article 3. Everything that deals with that draft, everything that deals with the contract, the whole 9 yards, okay? Whereas under Article 9, you don't, because it's all been securitized and it's been separated. So that's the trick that they're going to try to pull on you when you file for this discovery. They're going to try to send you a copy. And if you go for it, then they know you don't know what you're doing.
Right. So this is why we also are asking them to include the complete names, the addresses, the locations, and the business contacts of all acting trustees and or surety holders. Then we are asking them to produce, we are requesting them to produce and reveal the deed of trust associated with the original loan issued from their bank, agency, or company or representatives, and reveal all the other notes related in any way to the alleged borrower, meaning you.
Yeah, but also, look, they don't really deal with it in this either. Here's something that everybody needs to remember. At some point in time, they produce a warranty deed. Okay? That warranty deed is what you need to accept. Okay? And keep that warranty deed, because it warrants that nobody else has any claim to that property. Once you've got that warranty deed, then you take that warranty deed and you make a claim through land patent to that property, which is the only claim that you can make to bring it out of the trust that it's been placed in through the bankruptcy.
Right,
okay.
Right. So you can be actually a landowner.
So yeah, you're a landowner.
You are not tenant, as you will find out on your deed.
You're a landowner, and it inverts the stuff back to the way that it is supposed to be.
Right. So then we are requesting them to produce evidence of the insurance policy that was put in place on or against the borrower's promissory note and associated with the loan bearing the account number, meaning your account number. Then we are requesting them to produce all call reports and any other related notes or instruments made or constructed for the entire period covering the loan. Then we are requesting them to produce evidence of the original deposit slip issued for the deposit of the borrower's promissory note associated with the loan. We are requesting them to produce the original order authorizing the withdrawal of funds from the borrower's promissory note deposit account.
Okay, so why are you asking for that?
Because we want to see the
original deposit slip to see what account it went into, and then you go and take the account number for the loan, right? And you find out what account that money was drawn out of, and you'll find out it was the same account.
Right,
okay?
Right.
And so what that shows is that they loaned you your own credit with interest, which is a crime. It's called usury.
That's correct. And then we are requesting them to produce the account number and source from which the money came to fund the original check given to the borrower. We are requesting them to produce verification evidence and proof that the borrower's promissory note was a gift to the lender, meaning to them, from the borrower, meaning you, and that the same was disclosed to you, okay, at the time of signing, all right? We are also requesting them to produce the full and complete name and the address of the current holder of the borrower's promissory note associated with the loan. And lastly, we are requesting them to produce the full and complete names and addresses of the lender's CPA and auditors and any other holder or record keeper for the entire period covering the execution of the mortgage or loan. All right. We should maybe now, Doug, also mention about the GAAP, the Generally Accepted Accounting Practices.
Well, the GAAP provides for whenever there's a deposit, right, and the bank will, when you deposit something, you claim that as an asset, okay? And because your bank has just come up by that much by depositing it. Plus, you got another sucker to come in and do business with you and stole his stuff underhandedly. Because when you go to a bank, it's not your money. It's their money. They're just allowing you to utilize it. Yeah. Okay? And if you read the fine print, you'll see that. That's why when this stuff crashes and they do all these bail-ins and all your people's money in the bank disappears, that's why. Okay? So, you know, what happens is with the money in the bank, brain fart.
Well, it has to balance, right? So
you've got, okay, what happens is you come in and make a deposit, okay? And under the GAAP, you have an asset, okay? But on the other side, you have a liability because it's a demand deposit. Anytime that you put something in the bank, when you demand it, they have to give it back to you. So you've got on one side of the books, you've got a asset, right? But on the other side of the books, you've got a liability for the same amount because it balances itself out. When they pull this crap on you, what they do is they make a deposit, and that's an asset, okay?
Because you are the creditor, you are bringing the credit.
Because when you put something in their bank, right, the bank comes up by that much.
Right, that's right.
So they charge it as an asset, okay, because it's an asset to the bank. Now the bank has, well, depending on if it's a bank or credit union, but they have so much that they have to have a reserve of, right, of that money. But the rest of that money, they can go on the out and loan it out, okay? So, you know, that's what fractional reserve banking is. They have to have so much for liquidity, just in case people make a run on the bank. They have to have so much to be able to give out, right? Other than that, there's nothing there. There's nothing in the bank. It's empty. It all exists in your mind, all right? So when they make this deposit, they mark it as an asset, okay? And instead of marking a liability on the other side, they mark that as an asset too because they claim they loaned it to you, and they didn't, okay? That's your credit because if you hadn't autographed that...
the promise, the application.
The application, right? If you hadn't autographed the application saying that you're going to pay them $300,000, right? Okay, there wouldn't have been a deposit.
That's right.
It wouldn't have meant the definition for a promissory note.
No, right.
Okay.
Right.
And see, back in the 90s, they got caught doing this with the promissory notes. So they changed their scheme a little bit, and they're using the actual application. And then they're taking the application to the federal window and trading it for Federal Reserve notes. But that's the same thing that they were doing before. They just changed the wording a little bit as to how they do it. But instead of making a liability on the other side, they have the asset on the other side because they're claiming that they loaned you your own credit, which is usury and it's fraud. It's a whole system of constructive fraud. But they've been doing it for so long that if you allow it, okay, people can defraud you all day, people.
Right.
And if you don't do anything about it, if you don't say anything about it, you acquiesce and you agree to it.
So,
see?
Yeah.
And see, you need to comprehend something. There's no favoritism in administrative law. It works for all of us the same way. They set up their uniform commercial code and a lot of their little techniques thinking that we would never find them out. But we found them out, okay? And so what we've done is we've turned their techniques on them with doing this because they can't prove that they loaned us of anything of substance because they didn't. Therefore, there was never any loan by definition. If there was never any loan, by definition, there's never any fucking mortgage. If there's never any mortgage, there's no fucking debt. Okay? There is no debt. There's nothing to pay back. There is no what do you call it? A REIT or REFRA
what do they call it?
RESPA, or any of that other stuff, because there was no loan that needs to be paid back. So therefore, basically what happened is you went in and you signed this application that turned out to be a promissory note that paid for the property from the very gate.
See, and it would be fair business if they disclose that to you, right? They would say, hey, listen, we are the only ones who can actually access your credit, right? Because we are the bankers, we are the extension of the banking system, and we will do it for 10%. So, you want this $1 million home? Great. We can access your credit and we are going to charge you $100,000 for it. Would you like to do the business? Full disclosure, meeting of the mind? I would say yes, right? For $100,000, I get my home. It's paid in full, right? And there was full disclosure. There was meeting of the mind.
Well, there was a full contract.
And this is lawful contract.
Yeah, lawful contract, because all they've done is a banking transaction.
Right.
They've taken your sweat equity, right, and the fact that you're a creditor and you're a private banker, okay, and you filled out an application which meets all of the definitions of a promissory note. The minute that you autograph it, it's got all your financial information on it, how much you're willing to pay back, how much you're worth, the whole 9 yards. Okay, that is a promissory note right there. All right, the minute that you sign it, it has that cash value. All right, they're not telling you this. They're making it like they're going to give you a loan. They're not. Okay, the minute that you sign that application, right there's the cash value that pays for the house.
That's right.
And so the way that they set this up, and it's their system, okay, with the negotiable instruments law, that's the way that it is. So your house has already been paid for. But then they come in and they have you sign a security agreement and a trust, okay? Well, if you look at your trust, not only are you a tenant, but you're not even in the trust, okay? A Fannie Mae is going to be the trustee and MERS is going to be the beneficiary, which is illegal. How are they going to cut you out of the whole agreement, the whole contract that you did to buy a home? All right, but you didn't buy a home. You bought an APN number that exists on a little square in a tax assessor's drawer. And that's the only place that it exists, people. I give you my word, that's the only place that it exists. Now, I've been going out and finding people's APN numbers.
Yes,
you know, we're going to start an APN return system. Okay, because I've been going out to people's property and finding their APN numbers and sending them back to the tax assessor, okay, and getting responses saying that they got them back. I'm full of shit. They don't know what to do with them, but they got them back. Well, if they've got them back, how the hell did they get back on my property?
And so then once you confront your mortgage company and you ask them all these questions and they are not able to prove that they actually loaned you anything of substance of theirs, you default them, right? And they start threatening you, oh, we are going to foreclose on the property. Go ahead. All you are foreclosing is on APN number, which is at the tax assessor's office. So go ahead. Be my guest.
You know, it throws a big monkey wrench in all this stuff, people. And that's our job. Okay?
All right.
Our job is to harass the enemy and then escape. Okay? Because we're POWs. Okay? We're prisoners of war. All right? We've been occupied by an enemy in this country.
Domestic enemy.
Okay?
By these foreign agents.
Yeah, for the last 100 and something years.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I don't know if y'all watch any alternative media or where your head's screwed on at, but if you watch the alternative media, right, and you're going to see where, you know, this plan's been in place and all of this, well, everything was built on fraud. The UCC is built on fraud, okay? It tells you how to create money out of thin air, all right? It tells you how to do all of the things that's being done right here, all right? The UCC is the federal common law that tells you how to do that, and it affects everybody because everything is in commerce.
Right.
Okay, and they didn't tell you that. When you get up out of bed and you open your front door and you walk out, you're in commerce. Period. All right. So you have to be able to function in commerce as a man or a woman and comprehend who you are in dealing with these companies. See, people, look. The bottom line of this is, if you're an American, right? Our forefathers created the documentation, that created the constitutions, that created this government. All right? There's a maximum of law that says that you control what you create. The other maximum is you only control what you create.
That's right.
All right? So follow me here, people, because this is a real hard one to understand, and it's hard for me to explain in language that, people that haven't been fucking with this for a while can understand. All right? But follow me on this, okay? You are a man or a woman, okay? And your sweat equity is all that sustains this whole world, okay? It's your time and your work, your sweat equity, your creations. When you get up in the morning and you go out there and you go to work and you create things and you sustain the economy through your creations, okay? That is the creditors of this nation. We are the ones that this nation runs on. We are the ones that have value to this nation. We are the creditors, okay? But these bitch-ass bankers and these dick-sucking politicians, all right, these little pieces of shit, they come in here and they try to figure out ways to rob us of our sweat equity, okay? We haven't paid for anything in my whole lifetime. They took gold and silver before I was a kid, before I came back on this planet a second time. They took our gold and silver, okay? So I've been broke ever since, I've been bankrupt ever since they put a birth certificate on my ass. All right, I've been a vessel for the United States. Everything that I've done, the United States considers me to be a vessel out there raising revenue for them. Okay, they've created trusts in my name. They've created accounts in my name without even telling me. They've made deposits in my name when I was born, and they made bonds in my name when I was born, and they have reaped the benefits of that through my whole life. And until I found out about it and started doing things to deal with those issues, right? They've been living high on the hog. There's billions of dollars in accounts in my name. Okay?
Yeah, it's about killing the contracts. We entered into unknowingly and we've been put into involuntarily.
It's a slave planet. We are the slaves. Okay? Whether you like it or not. You've got a group of about 1% of pieces of shit that think they're gods on this planet. Okay? And I'd like to test that theory. But the bottom line is, they think that they own everything, including us.
Well, and that's where the maximum of law comes in, that they can only control what they've created.
Yeah, but they created the citizens, persons, residents, taxpayers.
That's why it's so
Those are all offices that you hold in their corporation by your own voluntary compliance. You hold those offices. Okay? Because you hold those offices and you accept the benefit of being able to go out here into society and get things with funny money and not get arrested for fraud and put in jail, they call that a benefit.
Right.
And since you're receiving a benefit from them, you owe them allegiance to all of their private codes, private corporate policies, bylaws, and all that other bullshit.
Right,
okay?
Right. This is why it's so important that, we really start comprehending how we got into this mess, and it's really been really great because a lot of people are waking up and they are realizing, well, how can government do this? This doesn't feel right. This is not correct.
Government. What does govern mean?
Govern means to control, right?
Okay, what does ment stand for?
That's
mental. All right, mind. They control your mind through their bullshit. That's what government means. Okay? Now, we're supposed to have a Republican form of government. A Republican form of government starts out, we're all created equal and we're all given unalienable rights by God, not by anybody else. Okay? So according to the fucking maxims of law, God created us. Okay? So we owe our allegiance and everything to God.
To our Creator.
Our Creator. All right? He created us, so we got to abide by nature's God and God's laws. That's what the Declaration of Independence invites us to do. Okay? That's what the book, the Law of Nations by Amr D. Vattel is all about. That's how these nations came about. Under God's law, and nature's law, and nature's God. Okay? The Declaration of Independence was an invitation that invited all of us to enter into a societal compact under God's laws, and nature's God and nature's laws, okay? And we did that. And then we brought in the Articles of Confederation. Articles of Confederation was the nature of friendship, a union of friendships, okay? But that wasn't good enough to handle business because everybody argued about everything, and, you know, the 13 colonies couldn't come together in a large enough number on shit because they were still too autonomous and too sovereign. So in order to form a more perfect union, the fucking Constitution was formed, okay? And that brought us all together. We're all created equal. But it was a trust indenture. There was a trust indenture that came out of that, right? And so we have public servants, and a trust cannot fail for lack of a trustee. That means we can kick all these son of a bitches out, hold the offices ourselves until we can find somebody to properly hold them before us, and not sweat nothing. We don't need these pieces of shit or their so-called big-ass names and all that crap. We don't need them.
This is all psyop. This is the quasi government pretending, you know, to be the true government of the people, the jure of the people, for the people, by the people.
Well, I just want to know why somebody named Rockefeller is more special than me.
Right.
All right. If you put a gun to his head and pull a fucking trigger, it'll blow his brains out just like me. He ain't fucking immortal. What's different than him to me? What? He's got a bunch of fucking money. Big fucking deal. All right. He ain't nothing special. All right.
So what this is important is that, you know, we are doing these series. So go and watch the previous ones where we are taking you through this very important fraud, because most people work their whole life to have a home for their family, for their children, right? And once you really start realizing that you are actually trapped into deceit and fraud, and once you learn, you know, I think it makes only sense that you stand up to it, right? And you start asking all these very important questions, like, was I actually loaned something? Mr. Banker, Mr. Mortgage Company, like, I would like to actually see the substance you loaned to me you know, so we can have a lawful contract here.
Let me put it to you this way, right? Okay, if there's a loan, they had to give you something of substance of theirs. So the whole issue, the whole very issue,
the whole
is show me the account that held something of substance of yours, okay, that I took full care, custody, and control over, okay, for there to be a loan. Before I had to fill out anything
else,
there had to be something of substance that they had in an account that they gave to me, and I took full custody, control, and care of, right? Okay? So that means that they would have gave me the check or the account, and I would have written the check.
Oh, the actual money.
Out of the account.
Actual money.
Okay? Or they would have given me the check to present to the buyer.
The seller.
Or the seller. But not just all of a sudden, hey, you know what? I fill out this piece of paper, and next thing I got a loan. Well, if this piece of paper was a promissory note, then I don't need a loan because I'm the one that funded the house. See, I paid for the house with my sweat equity by putting my autograph on a promissory note, okay, which acts as cash in today's society pursuant to Public Law 7310, okay? And they can't get out of that. They can't get out of the fact they violated the GAAP. So when you start asking the right questions on paper through the public process of notary, which registers it with the Secretary of State as an extension,
and becomes a part of
public record, then in public record you have served them properly. Okay, what they do is a matter of public record. If they don't give you what you respectfully ask for and have a right to, then there's something wrong with them, isn't there? Okay. What, they can't prove? They can't provide you proof of the fact that they loaned you something of substance? If they can't do that, then there was no loan. If there was no loan, there is no mortgage. If there is no mortgage, there's no debt and any of the other shit that goes with it. It's that simple, people. It's that simple.
And what you tell them, you say, okay, you know, I have my CPA ready. You know, let's do forensic audit on the account. You know, let's do this, right? Because if you
let's be transparent about it, because we're supposed to be transparent in commerce, right?
if they are acting in honor, right, they will give you the access to it. Let's do it. Let's do forensic audit. I will have my assistance of counsel, my CPA. Let's all sit down and make sure that I am dealing with honorable business people.
And
right?
look, people, I may seem like I have an attitude because I do.
Yes,
all right?
he does. He
no,
does.
I do. It's look, I see you people out here, and I see you suffering. Okay.
Yeah.
And it hurts my heart because, I wish I could come and help all of you, but I can't. I'm helping certain people, but I can't help all of you except by doing these videos. And I know that these videos seem way out there. You know what I mean? I remember when I first started this stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, and I was just so lost, and I didn't know what to do. Okay, but I was lucky enough that I had people that like me. Okay, they really cared about people, and they really took somebody like me. Okay, some young dumb idiot, all right, with a hard head, and they put him under their wing, and they actually showed me how this stuff works and how it doesn't work and how to make it work. Okay. And so, it took me 20 something years. And I was doing this 8-10 hours a day, people, but I had to do it because they threw me, they gave me a life sentence for nothing. I didn't do anything. All right. They set me up and then hit me with 3 strikes. And then I went and I beat that. I became a paralegal and beat that and thought I was doing good. And they took me and gave me twice as much time. God thought, well, you hard-headed son of a bitch.
You are yet to learn more.
So you got to learn a whole lot more before I let you out there in that world, right? And so, I did another 15 years because they gave me 52 to life. I started out with 27. All right. So I comprehend the games that these people play. All right. And I comprehend that you people are sitting out there and right now you can still go to the store. And right now you can still get, so much money out of the bank. And right now, the dollar that you can go still spend a dollar bill in a store.
And the money we are talking about, it's actually obligations of the United States. That's not real money.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, look, this is what's been programmed into you. Okay, let's deal with the reality of it. Everything that you're using is negotiable instruments that are about to go down the hill.
Right.
The dollar's been unchained from the reserve of the world. Okay, we used to basically own the world because our dollar was the reserve of the world, and everybody had to have it on hold. They had to have it within their banks and everything else because everything was done with the dollar. Okay, it was connected to the oil. I mean, hey, our governments were sleazy motherfuckers. Okay, the United States governments were pieces of shit for the last at least 100 years. Okay,
160.
Well, 160. But that doesn't relate on us, the people, because I don't like these pieces of shit either. Okay? If I had my way, I'd take them out and tar and feather them and then hang them. Just like they're supposed to be done in the old days. But all of y'all don't want to back me up and go with me to go, I'm ready to dig the pitchforks and the fires out. You know what I mean? The torches. And go handle this shit old way.
Well, this is why it's so important that we exercise our First Amendment and that more people enslaved, the more people, become free from all this. It's enslavement.
What we're trying to do is show you people, okay? We've been doing it ourselves, okay? I did it from prison. I can show you the paperwork, okay? And these things work, okay?
Yep.
But you have to be willing to stand up and utilize these things and step out of your comfort zone.
Stop being afraid.
Okay? Because fear is failure and the beginning of failure.
And that's what they've been using against you.
Yeah, what are they going to do, people? Kill you? Okay, well then they just send you home.
No, but it's...
No, I'm just saying, if they kill you, they send you home. Okay? If they take your shit, okay, they're going to do that anyway. It's all lined up right now to come in and take all of your shit because you don't own anything. Right. Number one, you bought it with their notes and they don't have any substance behind them. So by using their notes, they have an interest in everything that you bought, not you. Go look up the law, okay? And it's a whole sick thing, okay? What they're doing is they're using us as chattel. Okay, they think that they're above us. They think this 1% thinks that that their shit don't stink because they got all this money. Okay.
So this is why, my beautiful friends, go watch the previous videos. We will continue on this important discussion. You can also find us on Telegram under California Republic Unslaved. This is once again California Republic Unslaved on Telegram. Go to watch the previous videos. We will be back with another one, and we will continue until you have this full series so you start feeling comfortable. Also, another reminder is that most likely you will have to watch them several times, okay? Until it really, well, I said several times. For some people, it can be 5, 6, 10 times, because it has to sink in. It's a complete reset of the way you've been made to think. It's a mind shift. All right.
Yeah, it's
that we do not have money, that we live in a debt-based society.
We are the creditors.
It's unbelievable what your mind will actually do, trying to sabotage you to comprehend this, because we've been programmed into believing a lie. That we actually have money. We don't have money, and even that fake funny money is going away. And it's really incredible because people say, well, start using cash. Well, first of all, it's a little bit too late.
There is no cash.
And second of all, it's their money. It's not even our money. This is not people's money. Those green piece of papers, that's all it is. It is not backed by anything.
It belongs to the Federal Reserve, and it's not backed by anything but the full faith and credit of the people.
And this is why every time you use it, the national debt has been increasing, because you are not paying for anything, all right? And this is why the system has to crash, because it cannot go for eternity. And we are at that point. So people, please, 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 educate yourself, take the time so you can protect your hard-earned assets. Connect with us, all right? We are in this all together, and we really hope that you do your due diligence. This is why we are doing this. Is all free education. Go to get some additional books. There is great education online, and I guess
you can look. I'm not gonna plug anything, except I'm gonna plug this right here just for the fact that they still have the books that I used, right? But a lot of the stuff that I used is you can get on American Bulletin that line and go to the books, and they've got all the books in there that give you the basics.
Another great also book is Give Yourself a Credit. You can find it on Amazon. It's a great little booklet, actually, which will explain the concept. Great little book. And we will just continue to do these videos, prepare questions. You can connect us on Telegram and on YouTube. And, we also welcome all the trolls who don't believe it. They think that they are smoking, that we are smoking something,
I am smoking something.
Anyway,
I smoke
guys,
good weed.
my beautiful friends, thank you so much for your time, and we will see you in the next video. Have an amazing evening.